Hello, and welcome to A Place to Call Home. I'm Portia Evans. I'd like to welcome you to the show today. Here to talk about a very important organization, a young lady who's headed that organization since the incidents in her life. I'd like to welcome to the show Miss Consuela Gaines. Consuela, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
One more
Glad to be
time,
here.
and I'm just so proud of you nowadays. A lot of people, she's been on the show before, but a lot of people remember Consuela's story. Consuela is a formerly incarcerated female in the state of Louisiana, and Consuela did 22 years in prison. And since she's been released, she has started a phenomenal organization for those formerly incarcerated, for those who are trying to re-enter society. It's a great support group that gives you all the information and the avenues you need to get back into society. We want you to have jobs. We want you to be successful in your life. And there are circumstances in our lives. Sometimes a lot of people know my story, and I ain't got no shame in my game. And I am addressing the Democratic Party on the matter of criminal justice reform. That's going to be coming up very, very soon. But tell us a little bit about your story, Consuela. When I first heard the story and they said this young lady did 22 years, I thought automatically this has to be a crime of murder. But it wasn't.
No.
So tell me a little bit of your story.
Okay, Miss Portia. In 1994, I met a guy, fell head over heels in love.
Young
with
girl
him.
in love.
23 years old.
In
both
love.
of us. Yes. And he was facing armed robbery charges in St. Landry Parish in Opelousas.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time he and I started dating, he had court proceedings coming up. He ended up being arrested, and he was looking at 20 years for armed robbery. And me with my spoiled, rotten self, impatient, young,
In
love self, I concocted a plan to help him to escape, to break him out of jail.
Break him out of jail.
And unfortunately, he went along with it and agreed and was like, okay, let's try this, let's do this.
Had a plan and got away.
Yeah. Yeah.
How long did you get away for?
8 days.
8 days.
Yeah, they caught up to us in Tybee Island, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were extradited back to Louisiana to face various charges on state and federal.
Of course.
In state court, armed robbery, aggravated escape, and principal to convicted felon in possession of a firearm.
And that was your charges?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Sentence?
First offender.
First offender.
Never been in trouble.
Sentence?
The first time I was sentenced to 72 years.
72 years.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not murder.
No. No one.
This is
got hurt.
because this was a young girl in love, never been charged with a crime before. She helped her boyfriend escape and got away for about 8 days. Miss Consuela Gaines, ladies and gentlemen. And how long have you been free now?
19 months.
19 months. And you've been free. And first of all, I want you to tell the women of this viewing audience, what's it like in the state of Louisiana for an incarcerated woman?
Miss Portia, is very hard. Luckily for me, I don't have any children, And
I think about that often.
I was surrounded by women who were incarcerated and some had babies while they were incarcerated. Some had children, toddlers, teenagers. And a lot of times they weren't able to communicate with their children. They weren't able to visit with their children.
And a lot of times, these women leave these children behind.
Yeah, to family members, grandmothers, most of the time.
And you wonder why. A lot of young people get caught up in the system.
Mm-hmm.
But we make no excuses. You did the time for your crime.
Mm-hmm.
22 years of incarceration, and since you've been free, you came out and you started this organization. That's what we're here to talk about. The organization is called VOTE, and that is an acronym for
Voice of the Experience. Actually, I didn't start it. I work for VOTE. VOTE was originally started at Angola back in like 1985.
Okay.
With our
But
founder.
you brought this chapter to this area.
I'm the Lafayette chapter leader.
Okay.
Because we have several chapters. We have New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport.
All right. And tell me what the goal was, or what the goal is for VOTE.
Well, our goal is prison reform here in Louisiana.
That's a whole lot.
It entails a lot. It really does. It covers so many things, from housing, because a lot of times, as we know, a person has problems getting housing, being an ex-offender.
Right.
Jobs,
Right.
being an ex-offender. Voter registration. If you're a convicted felon in the state of Louisiana, you can't register to vote.
Unless you've completed probation and
Unless
parole.
you've completed it. However, that was something that VOTE spearheaded. And this past legislative session, House Bill 265 was finally passed. And people who have been home at least 5 years, starting March 1st of 2019, will be able to register to vote, regardless if they're on probation or parole.
Really?
Yes.
And you have an upcoming meeting. That's going to be coming up when?
Yes. It's going to be August 25th here in Lafayette at the Clifton Chenier Center, which is located at 220 West Willow. And the meeting will start at 1 o'clock. Our meeting purpose is to prepare for the unanimous jury verdict campaign.
Right.
That
During the
a whole coalition pretty much is taking control of here in Louisiana, and VOTE is one of those organizations who will be helping, who will be training people on phone banking, canvassing, will be door knocking to get this information out to people so they can know that this particular bill will be able to be voted upon.
Now, during the last legislative session, for people who don't know, there are legislators, and we want to congratulate the ones from our area who stood up for this measure, the unanimous juries. And that says that juries now in Louisiana, when they didn't used to have to be, to convict somebody, you have to have a unanimous jury.
Mm-hmm.
This measure will be brought to the people during the November election. We'll be talking more about it, but it's going to be on the ballot, one of the items that we will have to vote on. And, there was, at one time, one person on a jury, could disagree, and that person would be sentenced.
Mm-hmm.
So now the jury has to be unanimous.
Yes. Currently, it's a 10-2 decision.
Okay.
If a person has 12 jurors and
10 of them
10 of them say you're guilty, 2 say you're not guilty, you will be convicted.
Okay.
And the unanimous jury that we're trying to get is a whole and complete unanimous jury, which is 12 people.
Right.
All 12 of their votes should count
Right.
without excluding 2 people.
Now, I know you hold these monthly meetings, and there's always somebody that you're connecting with who's going through or who has gone through the same kinds of things that we've gone through.
Right.
So, tell me about some of these people you meet. I know you meet some powerful or hear some powerful stories.
All the time. It's too many to even.
Tell me one that sticks out in your mind.
Oh, wow. I met a guy. He spent like 15 years in prison, and he was on a manslaughter charge.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been home, I think now about 7 years.
Mhm.
So, it's been hard for him to find gainful employment because of his conviction. But this young guy, he is so determined. Matter of fact, right now he's out of state looking for a job. He had to wait like 5 years. He was denied about 3 or 4 times to receive a TWIC card.
Really?
But he kept persevering, and he finally got his TWIC
And that's
card.
what it takes.
Yes.
You know, I tell people never
Mhm.
give up. There are a lot of
Mhm.
people who come and say, I can't find a job. Nobody want to give me a job. That is not true. There's a lot of major companies and corporations who will get a tax break
Right.
for
Right.
hiring you.
That's
So
right.
just be consistent, be persistent, and keep applying, keep applying, keep applying, and be determined to turn your life around. And I believe that it will happen for you. We are here with Miss Consuela Gaines. She has a powerful personal testimony, and she has a powerful organization. If you know somebody in your family who needs this kind of support, we urge you, give them your phone number.
You can contact me at 337-212-5074.
That number is on the screen one more time.
337-212-5074.
They are teaching people how to reacclimate themselves back into society. Some re-entry support measures that you need to take advantage of. Now, why do you do this? Why?
Well, I guess those 22 years was for this one purpose, for me
For
to
such
come
a
home.
time as this.
Yeah, for me to come home and to be an advocate for those that I left behind.
Now, has some of this stuff paid off for you in your life? Are you working nowadays?
Oh yes, I've been working well over a year now, full-time job, and I also work for Vote, so I have 2 jobs.
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful.
yes, and I love it. I love it.
Like at the onset, I said, we are so proud of you. And you've been out 19 months. Are you still on probation and parole?
Still on parole.
Still on parole. And how long left?
Going on 21 years
Left?
that I have left on parole.
On parole.
Yes.
Well, I know it's going to happen,
Mhm.
you know. And once you've completed, and I want to reiterate this, once you've completed your probation and your parole, you go down to the parole office and you get a diminution of your sentence, and you bring that to the voter registration office, and you can re-register yourself to vote.
And of course, come March 1st, if they've been out of prison for 5 years with no convictions within that time, they'll be able to register regardless if they're on probation or parole.
So you get to vote in 5 years?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yes.
Very, very proud of you. Please join this organization. You do have an email. What is that?
Consuela at vote-nola.com. .org.
Consuela at vote-nola.org. Now, this is some great information that we are passing on, because I know with Louisiana being the highest number of people incarcerated in the world. And you never know what is on a person's mind. You know, some days people just stuck on stupid, you know, to just do some of the crazy stuff that they are doing. But you have to pay the price. And there's a consequence. I have some young kids in the studio with me today. There's a consequence for every decision you make in your life. If you do something bad, you're going to pay the price. They're going to lock you up. If you do something bad, they're going to lock you up. Your mama going to whip you first. Then they're going to lock you up. You heard me, young man? Come here. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. You heard what I said? You make some good and wise decisions in your life. Make some good choices in your life. We don't ever want you to get in trouble. You too, come here. Come here. I'm talking to young people like you. I want you to know, if you decide in your life you want to do something bad, you're going to pay the price. There's a consequence for everything you do in your life. You hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Y'all can sit down. Thank you. We're here with the support group VOTE, and VOTE stands for
Voice of the Experience.
Voice of the Experience.
And our experience is in the criminal justice system.
What are you hoping? What else are you hoping to change? Tell me some things.
Wow, it's a long list. For number one, how African Americans are pretty much being given lengthier sentences.
That's been going on a long time.
Similar crimes as Caucasians. And prison isn't the answer for everything. We're looking at alternatives.
You're supposed to be rehabilitated in prison. There's not a lot of that going on.
No.
We do know that there are education classes, and if you get your GED, if you sign up to go to school, that may cut some time off of your sentence. But other than that, are there treatment classes?
Well, at this point, it depends on what facility you're in.
Right. Now, for women, it's mostly St. Gabriel.
And that prison is closed.
Closed down since the flood.
2016, yeah.
Now, where are these women at?
They're all over Louisiana.
Really?
In satellite prisons, in Tallulah, Plaquemine Parish, Hunts. They're all over.
Everywhere. And a lot of times, you know, they're not connecting with their families. You know, we talked about how expensive it is for families to accept a collect phone call.
Very.
You know, from an inmate. That's expensive phone bills for people who only getting food stamps as income.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, you know, but there's a lot of reform that needs to take place.
It's a lot.
You know, there's some people that say, well, don't give them no TV. Don't give them no recreation time. There's a lot of people that believe once you're incarcerated, that's just where you need to be. Just sit there and think about what you did. That's all you need to do.
But where would the rehabilitation come in if that's all they're doing? And you're not offering some type of trades.
Right.
Because most people who are incarcerated, they have never worked. They have no type of job skills. And if you truly want a person to be rehabilitated, you'll offer these types of programs within the facility.
Well, you do work at the facility.
Mhm.
You know, if you got one leg,
Some, like I said, some LCIW is closed down.
Right.
A lot of these girls are sitting in these satellite prisons,
Doing
and
nothing.
they don't work
Right.
at all. All they have to do is sit around,
right,
play cards, dominoes, and watch TV.
right.
Some of them, a lot of the facilities, they don't even bring the ladies outside for recreation. They go months at a time without getting any type of fresh air. You know, so it's very hard on the women. The canteen prices are constantly going up. You know,
Right.
like you said, the telephone calls are very
And
expensive.
if you have no family support, I urge families that do have a person incarcerated, reach out to your person, send them a couple of dollars. It's nothing like receiving something in the mail.
Right.
Write a letter. Reach out to these people. We all know somebody incarcerated, you know. But if you're in this area, we encourage you to reach out to this organization. It's called Vote, the Voice of the Experience. They will help you. It's a re-entry group. They will help you, teach you the things you need to do to get a job. I want to ask you this. How strong did your faith play in your process?
Oh, it was very, very, if it wasn't for my faith, I don't know. I don't think I would have survived those 22 years. If it wasn't for my faith and my family support, it would have been very difficult for me.
And just think of the ladies
make it.
there that didn't have anybody,
Right.
didn't have anything,
Yeah. And I know a lot.
hadn't
that are
received a
still
letter
there.
in years.
Yeah. They're still there. Yeah.
Please reach out. Give them your phone number one more time.
337-212-5074.
Miss Consuela Gaines. Wonderful, powerful story. If you need her for your organization, if you need her for your church, she is willing to come and tell her story. And what a wonderful story it is. A story of a young girl in love who just made a bad choice. So I certainly want to thank you for what you're doing. Your next meeting is again when?
Saturday, August 25th at the Clifton Chenier Center here in Lafayette at 220 West Willow,
What time?
1:00 p.m.
And who's invited?
Everyone,
Okay.
anyone who's interested in the criminal justice system here in Louisiana, anyone who is formerly incarcerated or
Can
a loved
share their
one,
testimony.
a loved one of someone who is incarcerated, come out and share your story, and I will definitely have information to give to you about the unanimous jury verdict
That's gonna
campaign.
That's gonna be on the ballot, folks, and that's one of the measures you're gonna have to say yes or no to, and that's gonna be coming up on the November 6th ballot, right here in our area. So you're gonna decide. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on again. Thank you for sharing the information today. And that is going to wrap it up for us today. Here on A Place to Call Home, we'll be back again next week with another show and something else. In the meantime, I'm Portia Evans for A Place to Call Home. You be blessed, and bye-bye. Girl, y'all gotta get me to come tell my story one time.
Oh yeah.
Girl.
How are you?
And I'm
able to
old.
get 'em out?
Look, I'm an old woman. See, old people don't like to tell what they done done. You see what I'm telling you, girl? I'm telling you something. I'm 65. Old people don't like to tell their story. I'm telling you something. You know, they think all young people, but girl,
Old folks done did some things.
girl,
Did
finalize
some
it for me,
things,
babe.
too.
Ethan, finalize it.
How did you be able to get 'em out?
She pulled the gun. Bang. She pulled the gun. And she pointed it at the deputy, the police. And she said, let him go. And they let him go.
What gun was it? Shotgun.
It was a sawed-off shotgun.
A shotgun. And they let him, they were scared and they let him go. And they got away.
I thought they had guns too.
They did.
They did.
They could have shot her.
They sure could have.
But God saved her.
For me to be here, so little knuckleheads like you wouldn't try it.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't.
You pretty sure you wouldn't? You better not.
Ever. Ever.
You better not.
Ain't that a good story?
It sure is.
I'll get up for the Women's Day.
Yes, I was thinking of that too.
I ain't finalizing.
Actually, he's still in prison. He's a
So-
federal prison in Yancey, Mississippi.
Okay, so first step is the press. Is the press. Oh wait, oh you're still recording, so hit stop.
Yeah.